Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody. This is Krishna Dasa. Today we are going to cover Shlokas 6.5 to 6.9. Before we begin, let me say the prayers to Guru and God. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalake Chakshurum Militamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So do you have the Bhagavad Gita open on pointing it to 6.5? I'm going to start the Shloka recitation. Okay.
उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुरात्मैव रिपुरात्मनः बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत् जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः ज्ञानविज्ञानतृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः सुहृन् मित्रार्युदासीन मध्यस्थद्वेष्य बन्धुषु साधुष्वपि च पापेषु समबुद्धिर्विशिष्यते.
Hare Krishna. I think today Suchita ji is going to read. Okay.
Yes, Guruji.
Go ahead.
6.5 One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. 6.6 For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. 6.7 For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. 6.8 A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whatever it is fables, stone or gold, as the same. 6.9 A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, and natural meditators, and envious friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful. This is actually one of the most profound set of teachings that we are going to cover today. So I hope you are all excited and paying attention here. Very, very important teachings. So 6.5, I think Krishna says that you should raise yourself by yourself. You should not let yourself bring yourself down. Now pay attention. For you alone are your own friend and you alone are your own enemy. Very empowering, very profound. So Krishna is basically saying you have to be in a position of empowerment and not get into a position of victim. Whatever happens is not just happening. So he's saying you are empowered to make ourselves successful. See, so empowering, right? So all he's saying is, let us not all the time try to find excuses. Let us not all the time try to blame circumstances and people and all of that for our failures. Let us take accountability and let us realize that we have tremendous potential and tremendous power within ourselves. That is all Krishna is saying. And he's saying once we realize that potential and once we use it in the right way, That is what is going to help us realize God. So actually what he is saying, ultimate realization depends on us. It depends on us controlling our mind and utilizing our mind. It doesn't depend on just something else happening. You will see he's going to say more and more profound things now. See, the point is, science doesn't yet know what is a mind. Science only knows what is a brain. So science has to see. Anything that it can see, it can define. But in our body, there is no organ called as the mind. So science has yet to define it. Whereas in Vedanta, it is already defined. And Krishna tells us that mind is our best friend if we have it under control. And that same mind is our worst enemy if we don't have it under control. So it is somewhat like a nuclear bomb, So if you use it as a deterrent, that makes you very powerful. But if you don't know how to use it, it's going to blow up your own home, right? Just like that, the mind is extremely, extremely powerful. And Krishna says that the mind will keep trying to distract us. And there is a word he uses here. He says uddharet. The wood, it is wood-haret, uddharet. So haret is similar to the word haran. In Hindi, the haran, right? Like we say apaharan. Apaharan means somebody kidnapped somebody. So that is where the word comes from. So Krishna is telling us, be very mindful of our mind. It says, be very mindful of our mind and make sure that the mind does not perform a haran on you. You shouldn't get hijacked by your mind. That is Krishna's message here. See, all of us, we all have an idea. We have a clear picture of what is the ideal person to be, right? We all know, at least theoretically we know. We have to be good-hearted, honest, loving, disciplined, strong. We know all of that. Then what prevents us from being all of that? What prevents us? Deepali, what prevents us from being the best version of ourselves?
Our ego, our desires, our wants.
And what else? Pragma 1.
Our own doubts about ourselves. Just trying to think.
Our own inner saboteur?
Inner saboteur, yes.
You remember, right?
Yes.
And what is that inner saboteur? It is our mind. It's our own mind. When our mind is not working in our favor, that becomes a saboteur. Correct? So, do you remember we also spoke about our inner nature, where when something happens, there is an inner nature that makes us react impulsively. Like, if somebody, for example, if somebody says, I don't like you, the first reaction is, I'm shattered. I feel dejected. Something is wrong with me. What is that voice? Where is it coming from? It is that saboteur. It is that your own mind, but it is not in your control. So it is turning against you. You see? It is not who said. The person who said it has said it and he's gone and he's partying or he's playing golf or she's playing golf. They don't care, right? But you feel, hour after hour, day after day. So what is responsible for that? That is your inner saboteur. And why did that happen? Because we let the impulsive side of our mind take control. See, that is the first reaction always. To any situation that happens outside, the first reaction will always be impulsive. And if we can identify that, and if we can pause, and if we can utilize our intellect to respond, that is the power of the intellect. To tell yourself that the impulsive reactions have to be controlled, have to be managed, because 99% of the time, impulse is not going to be the best response, because impulse is based on lower nature. Correct? So we can also say that the journey of making our impulsive side listen to our wise side That is the essence of spiritual growth. That is how you get on the path to growth. Krishna already provided a context way back in second chapter in 2.41. Anika ji, you want to read that, 241?
Yes, Vinay Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
2.41 Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakahyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. So,
Thank you.
O descendant of the Kurus, the intellect of those who are on this path is resolute, and their aim is one-pointed, but the intellect of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Hare Krishna.
Correct. So what Krishna is saying is, whoever possesses a firm and determined intellect, they can have a focus, one-pointed focus. However, if you don't have a sharp intellect, you will be, pulled with conflicting ideas and conflicting thoughts, and you will waste all your life. Your mind will always pull you in so many directions. It is not really fruitful because you are not going anywhere. One moment your mind takes you north, one moment it takes you south, one moment it takes you east, but you are just bouncing around. So you think you have traveled far, but actually you are pretty much in the same room. You have just been bouncing all over the place. That is what Krishna is saying here. So as discussed earlier, the intellect is the decision maker. Intellect makes the decision, and the mind is the follower. So for example, if intellect decides that spiritual progress is the right ultimate path, then your mind will follow. Then you will start taking interest, then you will, attend sessions, you will do whatever is required. But if your intellect tells your mind that no, what is most important is, for example, let us say money. That is the most important. Then your mind will again follow. Then it will always prioritize that. You will be spending endless hours in the stock markets or gambling or whatever. So to understand, mind is the decision maker. Intellect is the decision maker and mind is the follower. While we are discussing all of that, we need to understand the role of the intellect. What is the use? What is the purpose of the intellect? The purpose is that to guide your mind. Why? Because if your mind is not in control, then it becomes your enemy. It is not just a hindrance or just a trouble or just a problem. It actually becomes your enemy. That becomes your saboteur and that will bring you down. So you have to be very, very careful. And the converse is also true. If your mind comes under control, then you can achieve anything you want to achieve. So this is basically what we are talking about. Krishna makes it very clear that ultimately we are empowered to either uplift ourselves or destroy ourselves. So Krishna says you are empowered. So powerful, right? This statement. This is the true meaning of free will. The true meaning of free will means, this is why we say that God doesn't hold our hand. God doesn't micromanage us. Like some people always ask, why is there so much evil? That's an entire topic in itself. But the bottom line is, if God was doing everything, then what are you going to do? What is the purpose of life then? You tell me. If God was pretty much going to decide, okay, today, Suchitra is going to do this, and Ekansh is going to do this, and Chitra is going to do that. Pretty much God is doing all of that. What is the need for Chitra or Ekansh or Suchitra? What is the need at all, right? So the true free will is this. So God has given us all the tools. He has given us all the power. And He says, now you have the free will. See, it is not, free will is not just about I can, wear whatever I want and I can drink whatever I want. That is external free will. That is very, very shallow way of looking at it. The real free will is, what do I want to do with this mechanism? What do I want to do with this mind and body that God has given me? I want to consciously use this in the right way. I want to consciously use this to focus on spiritual evolution and attain God realization. And that decision is ours. God will never force. And that is the true free will. And using that free will, we are supposed to love God. What do you mean I love God? Love God means it is not just that I have a statue, I'm in love with the statue, or I have a picture which I'm very fond of. Love basically means, are you aligned? Are you listening to what God wants? Are you trying to make God happy? Are you trying to walk the way He wants us to walk? And that is empowerment. And that is true free will. So 6.6 is probably, you can try to memorize it, because in my opinion 6.6 is one of the most empowering statements Krishna has made in the Bhagavad Gita. So bandhuratmanastasya enatmaivatmanajitah anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. So he's saying, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. And for one who has failed to conquer the mind will be the greatest enemy. Our own mind. Very, very profound. So it's a very profound, beautiful concept of our own mind being our own best friend and our own mind becoming our own worst enemy. You know. See, I can tell you, if you decide to be happy, nobody can stop you. Especially people who have traveled in India, they will know that many times they will see, these beggars, they have no clothes, they don't have shoes, they have nothing. But some of them will be laughing and, smiling and joking, and you are sitting in your air-conditioned, car and you are sulking. Just like that, if you decide you want to be miserable, nobody can help you. It is an inside job, So Sadhguru says it very funnily. He says, if you are alone and if you still feel sad, that means you are in bad company. So what is that bad company? That's your own mind. It's your mind that is ruining your happiness. I cannot force you to be sad, no matter what I say or do. Just like that, I cannot force you to be happy no matter what I say or do. The decision to be happy or be sad is entirely yours. And that is free will. And that is mind management. That is mind control. So profound. See, I'm sure, have you ever, I hope it's not one of us, but have you ever had any friend or any relative complaining that, failure seems to chase me everywhere, or in Hindi they will say badkismat hamesha mera picha nahi chhodta. Like bad luck doesn't seem to leave me; it is always chasing me. Have you heard anything like that? Ekansh is shaking his head. Ekansh, you heard that?
One of my colleague always say, "मैं जब से आई हूँ मेरा सब कुछ बुरा चल रहा है." So and जो कुछ भी हो रहा है वो फिर बुरा ही होता जाता है. It's like law of manifestation, as you told.
Yeah. See, what I'm trying to tell you here is, many times we feel that failure is following us. We feel that bad luck is following us. But do you know what is the truth?
We are following it.
Exactly. We are following failure. We are following hard luck. That is why it is always a pattern. There are some people who we say, we just call them lucky go happy, or there are some words we use. Basically, some people, they seem to always be lucky. But it is not that somewhere somebody is putting luck in their pocket. It is their mind that is making them that way. And so they are always chasing luck. They are always chasing joy. Just like that, you will see some people who cannot be happy for long. I mean, they will have brief moments of happiness, and then they think when something bad happens to me, or and they find a way to somehow be in that. But they have to realize that there is no God or there is no universe sitting with a personal vengeance that I'm going to make this person suffer. See, we are insignificant. We are like, who are we? Like, why should the universe really give so much importance that today I'm going to make Ekansh's life miserable, or today I'm going to make Chitra's life miserable? I mean, what do you think we are? Like, we are nobody in the grand scheme of things. So there is no person or no entity sitting with that personal agenda. Okay. The good things are also there, bad things are also there. It's all energy. And at the end of the day, whatever we focus on, that is what we get. So bad luck never chases us, we chase bad luck. So we have to always remember that. Just like that, failures, we chase failures by our thought process. So the mind will always, for example, I know some people, I'm not joking. I actually know some people, some engineers, when I was in Microsoft, they were like chatting with me. They were telling me one fine day that we had such a tough time. We were really struggling for a job and economy was bad and so much sad story. Then I told them, Arey, why didn't you apply to Microsoft? I was there, na? Why didn't you apply? I said, oh, we never thought, we can get through. We never thought, how will we crack, Microsoft? So I said, see, that's the problem. If you don't believe in yourself, how will Microsoft believe in you? Right? So they not getting Microsoft was because of their own mind. And their mind decides what their self-worth is. And based on that, their opportunities, based on that, their success, everything depends on that. See? So this lesson, I think we have to really, really internalize. And it will become one of the most empowering lessons for you, for me as well. See, I will also give another example of the power of the mind, which is my favorite example. I used to tell this to my kids also. Let us say somebody punishes you, and somebody tells you, go and do 10 push-ups. It's a punishment. How will you feel? Will you feel miserable? Yes, you have a right to feel miserable. A lot of us are going to feel miserable. And by the time we have finished 5 push-ups or 6 push-ups, our body is also complaining. And maybe we feel pain for the next 2 days. Everything feels negative. But imagine now, instead of that, imagine that you made a New Year resolution that I'm going to become fit. Now you are paying a lot of money, you're going to a gym. And now you are showing off, you are doing 10 push-ups. How are you feeling? Are you feeling miserable? No. Now you are feeling happy. In fact, even the pain you enjoy. Right? Now what changed? It was the same 10 push-ups. So why is it that first time you did 10 push-ups, it was so painful and miserable. Second time you did the same push-ups, you felt happy. And what changed? What changed was your mind. In the punishment instance, your mind was not in your control. It was telling you, you are a victim, something is wrong with you, it is so miserable. How can somebody punish you? And in the gym, you are telling the mind, just follow me. We have to do the push-up. It is good for us. And then the mind comes under your control and suddenly the same thing becomes good. That is what we have to really, really focus on and understand. These are all such profound teachings. I'm telling you, if we can truly internalize this, our life transformation will happen. Guaranteed. Another concept I want to touch upon is there are 4 sources of strength in every human being. What are the 4 sources? The first source of strength is the muscular strength, which is called as Bahubalam. The second source is intellectual strength, which is called as Buddhi Balam. The third is mental strength, Manobalam. And the fourth is spiritual strength, which is Atma Balam. These are the 4 strengths that we have to cultivate. Some of it is we are born with and some of it we have to cultivate. But we have to also realize that it is a hierarchy. In other words, Buddhi Balam is superior to Bahubalam, Manobalam is superior to Buddhi Balam, and the most superior is Atma Balam. So our focus should be Atma Balam. And everything else should be a means. And Bahubalam, of course, you know how to cultivate. We just discussed. Go to a fancy gym and, and, about the mind, I can't help but think about it. I'll tell you how the mind works. It's very, very funny, Like in the US, I used to go to a gym and I took a photo of this and I posted it. That is why I remember it. It's a very fancy gym. It was inside a big mall and it was on the first, like 1 level higher than the regular mall. That is where the gym was. Now, in the gym, people will go and most of them will be spending a lot of time on the treadmill and artificial staircase, You have seen that in the gyms, right? And they'll be sweating it out. But from the ground level to the first level, to reach the gym, they have an elevator or an escalator. And people will stand and they will have to go up. Isn't that a joke? Like, I'm like, inside the gym, you are going on, spending money on an artificial staircase. But the mind makes you feel like, oh my God, why should I climb these stairs to go to the gym, So they have to put an escalator outside. So this is all the mind management thing, If we could just climb those stairs, we don't even need the gym. But your mind is giving you all sort of pain to climb a stair to go anywhere. But once inside the gym, the same mind tells you, yes, it is fun to go and do the treadmill or go and do that artificial staircase, So these are all kind of things you have to notice, observe, and keep in mind that, it is our mind which determines how we perceive life. So Bahubalam, how can we cultivate the other three strengths? This is where in chapter 5, Krishna spoke about Vishuddhatma, Vijitatma and Jitendriya. You can go revise it again. And the ultimate Atma Balam, Krishna says, will come when we develop more faith in ourselves. Do you remember this? Krishna said that your conviction in God depends on your conviction in yourself. That is what Krishna is saying again, that is how you develop Atma Balam. That you develop more and more conviction in yourself, that will lead to conviction in God. And when that also happens, then Atma Balam automatically increases. I hope all this is making sense. And how do we control the mind? What is one of the best techniques to control the mind? There is a keyword. Anybody can guess what the keyword is?
Remaining calm, samatvam.
100 marks. See, this is one of the most repeated words in the Bhagavad Gita. Samatvam. And Krishna has again said the context way back in 2nd chapter, 2.14. Anika ji, you want to read 2.14 also?
Yes, Prabhuji. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama paino nityas tamstitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the contact between the senses and the sense objects gives rise to fleeting perceptions of happiness and distress. These are non-permanent and come and go like the winter and summer seasons. O descendant of Bharata, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful. So we have to train our mind to handle ups and downs with a calm mind. Extremely important. That is what is required, because if you can't even quieten your mind, where is control going to come? See, you are in a car and the car is going 100 miles per hour. You are racing. Can you just stop the car abruptly? I mean, you don't even try, because, it's not good for you. It's not good for the car. It's not good for everybody else on the road. It's going to be a disaster. But what do you have to do first? You have to first calm the engine. Let go of the accelerator. Okay, slow down, calm. Same with your mind. Your mind is running everywhere. Your mind is going all over the place. You cannot try to control the mind at that instance. It's not going to listen to you. Okay, so what you need first is calmness. That is why Samatvam is so important. Samatvam is the fundamental requirement for anything you want to do in life. Any kind of evolution, advancement. So simple, right? And Krishna is saying, if it is a little hot, don't make a big fuss of it. Tolerate that. If it is a little colder than you are used to, don't make a fuss of that either. Try to tolerate that. This is how we develop that Samatvam. Just like that. At a physical level, hot, cold. At a mental level, a little bit of sadness, a little bit of happiness. All of that Krishna says, take it calmly. And he says, once you do that, then your mind will automatically be controllable. And then you can practice whatever else I am talking about here. Makes sense? Now, another important thing is, what is chapter 6 about? Does anybody remember what is chapter 6? What is the title?
Dhyan Yoga, meditation.
Jnana Yoga. Krishna again reiterates that samatvam is a prerequisite for Dhyana Yoga. Makes sense? Can you sit and do Dhyan? I mean, some people think they are doing Dhyan. So outwardly it looks like, everything is quiet and calm, but inwardly there is a storm going on. There is a tornado, there is a hurricane inside. That kind of meditation is not going to give you anything. What is required is inner calmness. So there are some people who may seem like they are doing 10 different things, but internally they are calm. That is what we discussed as inaction in action. And how does that come? Samatvam, simple. Krishna says, practice samatvam repeatedly. Find opportunities in everyday life, find opportunities. Any opportunity to be overjoyed, tell yourself, no, calm down. Any opportunity where you feel shattered, tell yourself, calm down. Even this will pass. Nothing is permanent. Correct? And that way you keep practicing samatvam, then you become eligible for everything. And Dhyana Yoga also starts after that point. Don't try to just sit and do some YouTube meditation or guided meditation just like that. Because if you don't first practice samatvam, none of those meditations will help. Sometimes they will, amplify your problems. So you have to just pay attention to these kind of tips that Krishna has given. Why I am saying all of this is, some people think that if I have to progress, I need some fancy initiation in some fancy organization, and people will make you believe that. Tell me what changes. Tomorrow I can come and give you a certificate. I can give you a rubber stamp saying you are initiated. How does that change anything? Tell me. Because at the end of the day, your mind is in your control. That is what Krishna himself has said. Correct? So there is no magic, like a magic organization or a magic, initiation or a magic mantra. Don't expect any of those things. They don't exist. The transformation has to come from within. And the only way that will come is when you practice samatvam first. And once you have samatvam, there are many things, right? No ego, lack of pride. We studied so many things. Krishna has given the process here in the Bhagavad Gita. All we have to do is follow that. Now, there is a very funny story. This Swami Mukundananda said this in one of his lectures. I found it very funny, so I kind of copied it in my notes here. So he says that one man, he is going in search of a guru. Because somebody told him that you need a guru mantra. And somebody will tell a mantra in your ears, and that will give you liberation. So that guy is going in search, and finally, he comes across one person. Everybody says, "Oh, this guru, is very awesome guru. He's got long beard and nice hair, and he's got this tilak on his forehead, and he looks like a great guru." And he says, that guru can give you a guru mantra. So then he approaches that guru and he says, "Guruji, can you give me a guru mantra, a very powerful guru mantra?" And the guru tells him, "Okay, here so-and-so fees, and then I can give you a guru mantra." And then he just whispers something in his ears. But this man is still not sure what is going on. So, because he doesn't understand what a guru mantra is also. Somebody told him that a guru mantra is going. So he's asking this guru now, "So what have you just given me?" And that so-called guru says, "I have given you Goloka." You know what is Goloka, right? Krishna's abode. He says, "I have given you Goloka. And when you die, I will meet you in Goloka." Wow, wow, wow. Claps, claps, claps. And then the guru tells this guy, "Now you have to give me some good dakshina, guru dakshina." Now this man thinks for a minute, and then he says, "Guruji, I will give you Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata." Now this guru looks at him and he says, "Badmash, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, क्या तुम्हारा बाप का है? Does it belong to your dad that you are telling me you want to give me Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata?" So the man smiles and says, गोलोक क्या आपका बाप का है? That you are telling me you will give me golok? See, what is the tatparya? Nobody can just give us golok. Nobody can just give us liberation. It doesn't happen that way. It's a process we have to follow. And Krishna is telling us that we are empowered. And Krishna is actually promising us that if we follow the process that He has given us, you don't need any external factors. You don't need any approval from anybody. You can definitely yourself get elevated and reach your goal of liberation. It's guaranteed. Very, very empowering. I hope that all makes sense. And maybe we have some more time, so I can touch upon another concept is we need the process definitely, as I just told you. And what else do we need apart from the process is complete surrender. Surrender to whoever you look upon, because wherever guidance is coming from, the positive guidance, you can call it universe, you can call it God, or you can call it a mentor or whatever, right? Our mindset in spiritual topics has to be a mode of surrender. And the absolute surrender should be for the absolute Bhagavan. But do you know how to surrender? Like, what does surrender mean? Because the word seems a little negative. People think that surrender means it is the same as I've lost something, or, You see what I mean? Some people think, that word surrender for them means like we are defeated, or, that is not it. Surrender is actually a very empowering concept, because surrender means you have conquered your ego. So it is not defeat. This surrender is actually making you victorious. In fact, a person who finds it very hard to surrender, these people cannot even address other people with respect. They are not winners, they are losers. Because their ego is winning, they are losing. It's a very beautiful way to look at it. So if you want to have absolute victory, you have to first have victory over your own ego. And what is the mark of that? How do you know you have victory over your ego? Is when you can surrender completely. But then how do you know that I have surrendered? That is the question. And here, I would like to reiterate what Lord Chaitanya has said. He spoke about 6 conditions that we have to fulfill in order to fully surrender and receive the grace of God. Does it ring a bell? I think some of you who have been in the previous classes. Yeah, Deepaji is smiling. Deepa, you remember? Okay.
I remember 6 ones, but don't ask me all about it. Yes.
But I want to say one more thing. There are 6 things, 6 conditions that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said we need in order to fully surrender. Now, you cannot ask, okay, out of the 6, if I fulfill 3, will I be half surrendered? Ekansh. Okay? It doesn't work like that. करना है तो पूरा 6 करना पड़ेगा. Okay? So what are the 6? First, you have to have desires which are aligned with the desires of God. In other words, I want what God wants for me. In other words, don't have selfish desires. Try to avoid desires which are going to do only for you, for me. It should all be, that is why we said, even when we say love, the mindset should be, how can I make my lover happy? And if you say, I love God, then it should be, how can I make God happy? It should not be, what can God do for me? Oh, God didn't give me this, God didn't give me that, God didn't give me a good house, God didn't give me a good husband, so I'm not happy with God, means you are missing the point. You see, that is the first one. Second one, the opposite of that. Don't desire anything which is against the desire of God. So always have this mindset of, I am not a doer. Okay, because what God said, who remembers that thing, Karmanyavadika raste ma phaleshu kadachana, that is God's words. that you have a right only for your actions, not for your fruits. But what happens if you now say that, okay, I have planted this seed, so I have to own the tree, and whatever fruits come in the tree, they belong to me, then you are going against the desire of God. Okay, that is the second part of it. Accept whatever outcome comes is the message. That you do what you are supposed to do, but don't be hung up on the outcome. If the outcome is not as per your desires, it's okay, accept it. Accept it as a prasad from God. This is what God wants for me. And be happy, be content. Okay. The third is have faith. Have faith that God is protecting me. You know, why will not God protect? God himself has said that he will. You know, so the part to understand is whenever we face a difficulty, we start doubting God. You know, but what we don't understand is, unless there is a difficulty, how do you even know whether you have faith? You know, somebody says take a leap of faith. It's a very famous statement. In other words, they say that if you leap, the net will appear, correct? You want to see the net, but you don't want to leap. But that is the point, right? Because the leap comes first. Correct? The net will come later. Just like that, if there are no difficulties, how do you even know whether you have faith? How do you know? How do you measure your faith? So don't lose faith just because you are facing some unexpected events or just because you are facing difficulties. Take them as opportunities. Take them as prasad from God. That this is helping me practice my faith. This is helping me practice my devotion. And once you can do that, the same example, don't look at it as a punishment. Look at it as an exercise. You know, imagine that you are in the gym of life. And this difficulty is there to strengthen you. If you look at it that way, you will not feel mayus. You will feel happy about facing these difficulties and coming out stronger. The fourth, be grateful. Attitude of gratitude. Very important for whatever you already have. You know, I shared a video with some of you. In the Indian Idol is going on, and there is this blind girl. You know, when she sings, she makes people cry. I mean, because there's a connect with the soul. Because she can't see. She's a girl. She's young. Don't you think she has a right to sulk and be sad and be angry at God? That a young girl, she can say that I feel like I don't have a future, correct? But she's the one who has so much faith in God. When such a person sings from the heart, with full conviction and faith, it makes people cry. You know? Because she's grateful for what she has. She says, I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful that I can walk. I'm grateful that I can sing. So beautiful, so empowering. And that is the fourth step that says that you are surrendered. And fifth, don't have any sense of ownership. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Always remind yourself that why am I fighting? Why am I saying, you know, oh, this belongs to me? But what belongs to you really? Really? Does it really belong to you? Like, you know, this fruit belongs to me. Really? Are you responsible for the fruit growing? Are you responsible for the magic that happens? That out of thin air, using just sunlight and water, a magic happened and it became a fruit. You think you are the one responsible for that? So anytime you feel like that, tell yourself, nothing really belongs to me. No sense of ownership. And the last, we have to always understand that as you progress, Maya also progresses for you. You know, so there is a saying, God will give you only those kind of problems that He thinks you can handle. See, if you are like a nobody, if you are a small person, the biggest problem may be you have a fight with your neighbor. Correct? But if you are an emperor, then your problem would be another empire is attacking you. An entire empire is not going to come and attack a beggar. Correct? So you have to always understand that The problems that are given to you are usually the ones that you can handle. Based on that, only the problems come to you. You have to be aware of that. So what that also means, once you evolve, once you grow stronger, Atma Balam, Mano Balam, once it increases, then the problems will also increase, na? Because that is the law of nature. The Maya will also now start upping its game and saying, okay, now you are stronger. I need to now show you my next level. So don't get disheartened. Don't say that, oh, I have been chanting Hare Krishna for 1 year. I was expecting it will be a bed of roses, but why am I seeing thorns? No, not like that. It is natural. Yeah. Because if you have the mindset that I accept whatever comes as a prasad from God, I dedicate everything to God and I don't own anything, all this mindset will help you with the sixth step also, which says that surrender the pride of having surrendered. That is the final frontier of Maya, because if you have done all the 5 steps, now suddenly you are saying, I am a surrendered soul. You know, I've seen many YouTube videos also. I don't have any disrespect for people, but I see this, I find it funny. They will actually come on YouTube and claim to be a surrendered soul. And they will start calling names to other people. They will really use derogatory names to address other people. Because now they are facing the top ladder of Maya. Now Maya is telling you, oh, first it will make you feel very great. Oh yeah, you are surrendered. You have taken care of 5 out of 6 steps. And then you don't realize the 6th step is that, the final frontier. That please never be proud that you have surrendered. Okay, so never be proud that you are evolving spiritually. If you keep that in mind. This will all be in the notes that I'll be sharing. So hopefully this all helps you. Keep in mind that if you are invested in the material world, then even small things, they will disturb your peace of mind. But if you have a strong spiritual foundation, then these disturbances, they don't really matter. They won't have any power over you. So what is very, very important is that Manobalam and Atmabalam that we have to really, really cultivate. So Krishna was talking about this in many chapters. And so how do we exactly reach that stage? How do we progress, and how do we reach a stage where we can see everybody, where we can have samatvam, where we can have samadarshana, where we can have a vision of knowledge? All of that now Krishna will talk about in the next few verses. So with that, I think I can stop talking. Hare Krishna. Once again, super grateful for all my dear Satsang family members for your continued support and love. Thank you so much. Anika, thank you so much for the beautiful rendition. Anika has an exam tomorrow and she still found time to be with us and share her sweet voice. So thank you so much, Anika ji.
Thank you, Vinayaka and my Simpson family.
So did anyone have any comments or questions now based on what we studied? This is a very, very profound set of teachings from Krishna, worth revising many times. Yes, Ekansh.
Guruji, how will you differentiate between like buddhi balam and manobalam? It's like intellect is mano and buddhi is the brain.
Yes. Intellect means it's buddhi. Right? So
if you want to give an example.
Intellect is something that you develop, right? Intellect, you read a book, you go do a course. Those things add to your intellect, and intellect is more gross. Okay, mental is a little more subtle. Okay, so intellect is what is the power of reasoning, for example. Like if I argue with you, you can argue back with me. That is your buddhi balam. But something bad happens. Are you able to stay calm? That is your manobalam. No matter how much buddhi you have, do you think that the most intelligent people are the happiest people?
No.
No, why? That is the difference between buddhi balam and manobalam. Because buddhi is more at a gross level, where it is all knowledge. It can be theoretical, it can be material knowledge. Okay, that is important to some extent. It plays a role, but then you have to progress and you have to develop manobalam. So as I said, the biggest sign of manobalam is the ability to maintain samatvam. The more you think you can handle, be in samatvam, the more your buddhi balam, manobalam is stronger. You can tell yourself that. And no matter what happens, if you are able to have faith in God, then that is a sign that your atma balam is getting stronger. Because it's very difficult. You and I know this, right? Every time, even small things that happen, we start questioning, we start doubting. That means you may have samatvam, you are calm, but you are still having a doubt. Does God really care for me? Is God really going to help me? Right? We have those questions. But the day those questions go away is when you know that your atma balam is also become stronger. Does that help, Prakash?
A lot, Guruji. Today's session was really empowering. Very empowering.
Can we say, Prabhuji, that Buddhi Balam is guided by rational and Manobalam is guided by emotions?
No.
No?
I'm happy that you didn't say Buddhi Balam is rational and Manobalam is irrational. I was afraid you were going to say that. No. In fact, emotions have to be under control. And that is the job of your intellect. We just discussed that if you let your mind be controlled by your emotions or your impulses, then the mind turns against you. So that is not a strong mind. Okay? So the intellect, once the buddhi balam is there, you can use that buddhi balam to tell the mind that don't be controlled by emotions. Let us rather be guided by God's wisdom, like whatever God has told us, let us be guided by that. In other words, don't react impulsively. I hope it's making sense. They are all like tools, like buddhi balam, intellect, they're all tools to control the mind. And then the mind becomes a tool to give you atma balam. That is how it's like a ladder. First is your bahubalam, because you need to survive first. Only then you can think about anything else. You have to survive. You have to live. You have to be healthy. So definitely the first step is bahubalam. But then if you just have bahubalam, you are a brute. You are more in the animal realm, because even animals survive. So then you have to go to the next step. Next step is buddhi balam. Now develop your intellect, so that you at least know where to use your physical strength and where not to use. And once you have buddhi balam, use that buddhi balam to direct your mind now, and use it to develop manobalam. And then practice samatvam. Even the knowledge that I am supposed to practice samatvam is based on buddhi balam. Your buddhi has to be strong enough to tell your mind that samatvam is important. Correct? And then if you actually practice samatvam, then your manobalam increases. And once the manobalam increases, you can use that balam to now develop your atma balam, where then you can talk about faith and all of that. See, if you are afraid, if you are anxious, if you are worried, where will faith come from? There is no room for faith. Correct? Faith comes from a position of strength. Faith is not coming from a position of weakness. You can never have faith if you are not strong in your mind. Because if you are not strong in your mind, you will be full of doubts and fear and anxiety. And they cannot give room for faith. You see how it works? One leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. Is that answer satisfactory, Chitraji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Excellent. See, I would really advise you to again revise whatever we studied today, because it's a very strong foundation on mind management. And if you can even reiterate these 6.5 to 6.9, if you can reiterate a few times and try to make that your guiding principle in life, I think you will see a very quick progress. And then you will become ready for things like Bhakti Yoga and Siddha Bhakti. And that is the reason why Bhakti comes later. That is the reason why first Krishna spends so much time on Sankhya and Jnana and Karma and Dhyana and all of that. So he's doing the same thing. He's building your Bahubalam, Buddhibalam, Manobalam, and then he's preparing you for a stage where you can now strengthen and work on your Atmabalam. Even in modern leadership, people have copied the same principle. I don't know do we have any people from HR here, like human resources? No? Okay. Because in even people management, there is a concept, you can Google it, there is a term called Maslow's hierarchy of need. It's a very popular thing. It's kind of a pyramid, they draw a pyramid, and we all do that in our leadership training. So the idea is very simple. The bottommost layer in the pyramid is very big, and it is all about your fundamental needs: food, water. See, a person doesn't have food to eat, and you're going to talk to him about Samatvam, you're going to talk to him about Bhagavad Gita. It's not going to work. So, like that, they have multiple layers in the pyramid. So, then comes your personal needs, and then comes your social needs, and so on and so forth. And the top of the pyramid is your spiritual needs, like self-realization and whatever you want to talk about, or anything in that area, in that domain, comes at the very top. So the thinking is, unless the bottom layer is taken care of, you cannot expect the layer above. You cannot try to address that. So it's a leadership principle which says that if one of your employees is anxious about the next meal, don't talk to them about ownership and customer focus and all of that. It's not going to come. You see, the same thing Krishna has said like 5,000 years ago. He has said that he's teaching us in the same way. He's addressing our intellect, he's addressing our physical strength, he's addressing our mind, and then he goes on to talk about bhakti, where the faith aspect comes. Make sense? Excellent. Thank you again. Hare Krishna. Bless you all. I know there is Diwali coming next week, and so I want to make it easy for you. I don't want any of you to try and come up with reasons why you cannot attend this session. So I thought I will myself say that you can all take a break, enjoy Diwali with your family, and then we can probably meet after that.
How about Guruji, we just have like small chanting session?
Oh Lord, let us see. Whoever wants to come, you can message me, and then we can do that ad hoc. I'm happy if somebody tells me, let us meet for meditation, I'm happy to join, but I'm not putting anything on the calendar. So it is totally optional, and it's chutti. It's free for you. Enjoy. Okay. Arre, what is this? When I say you have to attend, you don't look happy. When I say you don't have to attend, you still don't look happy. Very, very difficult audience here. Huh? Kalpana ji is saying maybe they are all practicing Samatvam, so they will not be happy. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. See you all in the next session, and wish you a happy Diwali. May you all have a Krishna conscious Diwali. Loads of love and blessings to all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Diwali to
Happy
you.
Diwali to everyone.
Hare Krishna. Happy Diwali.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Diwali to everyone. Hare
Diwali to
Krishna.
everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Happy
Krishna.
Diwali.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Diwali. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Happy Diwali.
Yeah, stop the